Hey there, Zain here, and in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to build an 8-figure solar business. My company today, it's called Better Earth. Last year, we did 8 figures. Here in 2021, we're projected to do over $200 million in sales, so 9 figures, and the goal is to continue to take this thing and keep scaling it up. But the thing that most people ask me is, Zain, how did you do it? And how did you do it so quickly? See, it wasn't rocket science. It was just applying the right formulas and doing the right things. So in this video today, I'm gonna be giving you the steps to actually build that 8-figure solar business or even that 9-figure solar business soon, okay? So step 1, let's say you're starting your business from scratch, or let's say you've been going at this thing for years and you haven't been able to figure it out. Step 1 is gonna be selling. You have to make sure that you sell. Because if you don't sell yourself, if you don't learn the product, if you don't learn the process, if you don't get those repetitions in with the customer, you're never gonna fully understand the problem. The first thing I did when I started my solar company was I went knock, knock. I banged down doors. I worked directly with the customers so that I could understand the sales process myself before I told someone else to do it. I'd actually do the action and I'd learn from the homeowners. I'd learn what worked, what didn't work, what was the best pitch, what was the best training, what was the best sales process, what was the best software to use, what was the best way to explain the presentation to the customer, how do I follow up with the customer, how do I close them, how do I set the right expectations. So the first step if you're starting a business, it's not going out there and getting the best tech. It's not going out there and marketing and advertising. It's not going out there and finding the right talent. It's you yourself selling. Because when you sell, not only do you learn, not only do you save yourself tons of trial and error, not only do you go out there and research and develop for yourself, but you actually drive revenue into the company yourself. That is the best way to raise capital. If you're starting a solar company, I promise you, you don't need to go out there and raise money. You don't need to go out there and raise millions of dollars to build this software and this tech and have this presentation and do this marketing. No, you are your own revenue driver. That's exactly what I did. We had no capital, we had no investment, we had no funding. We probably had a small loan there. And all I did was we went out, I built a little loyal team around me of my friends and we sold. We drove revenue for the company. As revenue came in, we'd take that revenue, we'd put it back into the business and we'd multiply. But step number 1 is you can't go any farther unless you sell first, okay? Step number 2, once you figured out the sales process, once you've got the presentation down, once you understand the customer, move into recruiting, okay? Make sure you're recruiting properly. Find the right talent. You can't at the beginning, especially at the beginning of a business, you can't afford C players, you can't afford D players. You can maybe let some B players slide through, but you need as much A player talent as possible. You gotta go out there and you gotta target the right people. You gotta look at their interests. What do A players have in common? What are their characteristics? What's their track record usually look like? And the best place to look is within yourself. Who operates like you? Who sells like you? Are you an A player yourself? And the answer is if you're an A player, find someone that's like you. Find someone that can mirror you. Don't find someone that's different. Find someone that is as close to you as possible. Bring them into the business and recruit. That's exactly what my next step was. I figured out the sales process, then I brought people into it. I brought people into my process. Once I brought people into my process, they replicated the system and they kept the machine going. And I passed on the best practices because again, I sat in their shoes and they respected me for that because I already did what I was asking them to do. Once I replicated that, I added 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. Next thing you know, we're doing 100+ installs a month and we've built a massive solar business that's gonna do over $30 million a year in business, right? But all I needed was those first 2 steps. Now, I take my business from that stage to this year where we'll do over $200 million in business. Step number 3 was I took those factors and I got into marketing, right? Because the only way to get out there isn't just knocking doors, it's not just cold calling, but you gotta go out there, you gotta take your message and you gotta disseminate it. You gotta spread that message across the industry. You gotta spread that message across the world because I know people want my product. People wanna buy solar. People wanna save money. The world is changing and everyone is switching to solar. Is the solar gonna be coming from me or is it gonna be coming from someone else? And I knew that I wanted it to come from me, so I made that commitment early on. So step number 3 was because I believed in my message, because I had so much confidence in my message, I was selling, I was recruiting, we were both driving revenue, me and the people in the company that I recruited, and then I took that capital and I put it into marketing, right? And I reinvested into it. I let the business continue to grow. And as we reinvested back into marketing, the thing just continued to grow. and we multiplied, got on Facebook, got on YouTube, got on Google, did billboards, did all of this stuff. Now we became omnipresent, right? And that was the first step of marketing, just getting into it, putting the dollars in. As the marketing budget grew, we started building the brand, and the brand got stronger. And see, the most powerful thing about a brand that no one in solar does, that absolutely pisses me off because everyone should be doing it and it's good for our industry, is advertise and then build brand. Because when you start to build brand, you go from selling to your customers, and selling is knocking on doors, selling is marketing on Facebook through cold traffic. But once you start building a brand, people start coming inbound to you because they recognize your brand, they have transparency with your brand, they have truth with your brand. So you start by selling to market. As you sell to market, as you build more data, you start to brand. And once you start to brand, people recognize you, and now you've built a brand. And a brand is what people trust. A brand is what's gonna help you close more deals. Step number 4 is, once I've done my selling, once I've done my recruiting and gotten my in players, 3, once I've taken all that capital and reinvested into marketing and scaled it up, I'm gonna systemize, I'm gonna standardize, okay? I'm gonna take all of the things that I've learned and I'm gonna put that into standard operating procedures and make systems out of it, okay? I'm gonna look at every single thing that my team did. How did we recruit? What was our interview process like? How did we sell? What was the presentation? What did we say? How did we hire someone? How did we let go of someone? How did we market? What was the exact tactic you used? What was the thing that we paid our marketing team? What was the exact copy and messaging that I did? And I'm gonna systemize and standardize that, okay? Because once I systemize and standardize it, we have a source of truth for the company. So if something happens to me, something happens to the other executives in the business, I get sick, I go on vacation, I die, God forbid, whatever happens, I have the systems there so the business can keep growing and people have a source of truth to go to. And then step number 5 is, man, once I have all of those complete, I recycle, I rinse and I repeat. I keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And just like a tornado, it just keeps on going and going and going. And the business starts to expand. The problem is, people try to get to the last step without doing the first steps, right? Without selling, without recruiting, without marketing, without systemizing and standardizing. They do none of that. But when you do it in this order, your business is gonna be able to multiply, you're gonna be able to standardize, and it's gonna be like a tornado and it's gonna continue to expand and get bigger. And yeah, you're gonna have other problems. Yeah, you're gonna have more things come up. Who am I to lie about that? Every day I have problems and the problems continue to get bigger. But the fun part about it is the tornado isn't a little mini tornado anymore. It's a massive tornado with tons of people in it. It's going, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. More problems are happening, but I'm solving those problems and the thing starts to get bigger. So if you wanna build a solar company, you wanna go out there, you wanna expand, think big, but make sure to follow the right steps and take it from someone that's lost millions of dollars trying to do this, spent money on recruiting, on housing, on sales reps, on marketing, on HR. I've been sued tons of times. So much stuff has happened to me in business, but it was all trial and error that made my business grow and succeed today. God willing, this year we'll hit a $250 million plus, and that business is gonna keep on growing. So if you guys don't know me, you don't follow my company's called Better Earth Solar. I'm the CEO of it. Make sure to check us out. All I care about is continuing to bring value to our industry and helping you create an 8 to 9 figure solar company, all right? So if you're interested, make sure to check out my content, follow me on Instagram, follow me on everything, and subscribe below.
I gotta give it a go, yeah. I gotta grind, working for money in the door, yeah. Stop wasting time, you wasting your time for real. I'm about to no cap for real, remember we came from the dark for real.